目標は空にあったんだ
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Animac from Anime Uproar, and welcome to another episode of the One Piece Virgin Podcast, in which we will be finishing up the epic Skypiea arc. We're recording this a day late, in case you're wondering why. I had some family obligations yesterday, so we had to postpone it, but we are still doing it this week, and I'm really excited because I loved how this arc ended. Joining me today, along with Nux and Briggs.
Nux and Briggs!
Hey, Simmy and Jimmy, hey! Thanks for having me back, boys.
It's like Nux and Briggs and Simmy and Jimmy.
Yeah, Animac, I've actually been thinking about this since the last time I was on, and obviously everybody here loves the catchphrase Nux and Briggs, but I feel like Animac is being left out, so I would like to propose to you, Animac and Jimmy.
Jimmy!
All right, I like
Every
it.
time I come on, I'll hit you with that one.
Awesome, thank you, Jimmy.
Epic.
Glad to have you back. Honestly, you're a highly respected and sought-after guest for this podcast.
Absolutely.
Another
And
thing that
King of Lightning was going to be here, but he had stuff to take care of, unfortunately. But
What, is he going to the moon?
yeah, he was going to the moon.
hey,
I was gonna say the same thing, Jimmy. See that Animac and Jimmy chemistry, bro?
That's right.
Animac and Jimmy!
Yo, Jimmy, do you know anything about the moon, though, bro? Because you're not reading it.
Yeah, I read it on the wiki, but I do need to read the cover stories.
All right,
No
all
one
right.
understands
So
the
do
movie.
they not show the cover stories as like little snippets of the anime?
No.
They do that sometimes.
They
Dude,
did
they
it with
totally-
Buggy once.
Right, they did with Buggy, but they totally skipped. Well, anyway, let's talk about the final 23 chapters of the Skypiea arc.
Yes, and before we get into it,
280 to 302, and
No.
next time.
Nux, before we get into it, I just want to say that we have launched a Rankafe Patreon, patreon.com/Rankafe. If you want to support this podcast, the general Rankafe podcast, or the Rankafe Isekai light novel, chapter 2 of which is now live. So that is a big announcement from last week. And we already have 65 patrons in less than a week. So thank you guys so much for your support. Crazy. Take it away, Nux, with the screaming.
So today we're covering the One Piece, the Skypiea arc, the final third, chapters 280 to 302. And next week we're doing the G8 filler arc. It's an anime arc, and I have the chapters right here. I mean, the episodes.
Chapter.
I wrote them down because I'm a mad lad. It's episodes 196 through 206. That's 11 eps for those of you that wanted to know. And
And
Skypiea boys, let's do it! Animac, take it away. It's amazing.
all right, let me just lower your volume, bro. Nux, why? Yeah, so I'm looking forward to the G8 thing because I haven't watched the anime at all, pretty much. So now I'm gonna get to watch an arc that is not in the manga and kind of get acquainted with the anime style. So I'm looking forward to that. Now, Skypiea. Honestly, as the arc was going, I was enjoying it, but I didn't think it was like as epic as, say, Alabasta. But this conclusion was honestly amazing. I love the world building we got. We'll talk about it later. I love the whole NL stuff.
Love
Crazy
the NL
stuff. Yeah, I mean, dude, really enjoyed it. The flashback with Noland and what was the other guy's name? Keep forgetting his name.
Monpla
Kala
Cricket and Wiper and
No, the other guy. The rival of Noland became
Blanc?
president. Kalgara is his name in my edition.
Alright,
Yeah,
so-
I love that flashback and how it all related to the present. Oh man, we'll talk about it all, but it was absolutely great. And we had some epically funny moments again in this arc, some of which I even tweeted out because I thought it was so funny. So yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this.
I mean Sanji had
And-
some
and-
great moments in this one as well.
Yes.
So
and-
actually, my favorite moment in the whole arc, I have to say, belongs to my boy Sanji.
Hell yeah.
Sanji and Usopp have some great chemistry, I have to say.
Man, that one line that Sanji says to Usopp, he's like, I'm willing to sacrifice your life. Don't worry.
Oh my god, I love that scene. That's amazing.
Yeah, when it comes to Nami, I'm willing to sacrifice your life, Usopp. And Usopp's like, hey, what the fuck?
Because Usopp thinking he was willing to like risk his life, which he was, and we find that out later. But like that line, just their chemistry is amazing.
No, yeah, that was some great humor. There was Gum Gum Space Out by Luffy, where just like he goes derpy and avoids attacks, and like NL can't predict what he's gonna do because he's not even thinking of what he's doing. He's just kind of like and that might look like him being just dumb, but it's actually him going ultra instinct.
It's true, which gives you some hints about what mantra is, because like it's if he's not thinking, he's not able to predict his movement. So he was relying like purely on instinct. So you can't predict someone who's not actually thinking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the other really smart move that Luffy made in that fight with NL was he decided to like just throw his rubber limbs at the wall, and then they were started bouncing off and hitting NL, and he couldn't predict where they were going because at that point it's math. You're not predicting what the guy's intending. He's just kind of throwing him off, and then they're bouncing off, and you would have to be like calculating the angles and stuff. So I thought that was actually uncharacteristically smart move by Luffy.
Yeah.
Luffy's not a stupid character. Everyone keeps claiming he's just dumb. Luffy is not dumb. He just doesn't worry about consequences, which is not necessarily smart.
Bro, are you eating during the Rank Cafe podcast?
I am. I was hungry.
How professional.
Unprofessional. Anyway.
But classic Luffy to win without thinking. I don't think like was that a strategy that he came up with, or did he just think I'm just gonna fucking start attacking everywhere and bounce my limbs off stuff? Like, did it accidentally happen, or was it purposely?
Nah, it was for sure on purpose.
You think it was on purpose? Okay.
Yeah. He even called it like the attack. It had a name.
Okay.
One like I gotta.
Gobble gobble, no bouncy rubber off the wally attacky wackies.
Yeah.
That wasn't the actual name, but that's what I would have called it.
Oh, I have
Wait,
to
that wasn't it?
I have to clarify stuff from last episode because some people were correcting me. They were saying that rubber. I said it was a conductor, but it's actually an insulator. So I misspoke there.
Mm-hmm.
And also, people were saying that volts don't kill you, amps kill people, not volts. So I'm sorry I don't have a PhD in electrical engineering, guys.
No,
but
he just has a PhD in political philosophy, which is why he appreciates the world building, not the science.
Yeah, political philosophy is far more practical than electrical engineering.
Absolutely. It's one of those jobs that gives you just enough backing to make chapter reviews on anime.
Yeah, exactly. I want to simp Nami for just 1 second again, because, you know, that's what I do every episode. But Nami actually matured a lot, and I love the moment when she tells NL that she doesn't want gold or anything else if it means not being with her crew. Because that was like a total shift from her initially. And I love that moment, because at first she's like, yeah, NL, I'll go with you, don't kill me, Lola. But then when it comes down to it, she's like, no, I'm not going to go with you if it means not being able to be with my crew, even though this is full of gold and flying ships and all this crazy stuff. And I also love the whole Nami and Usopp exchange about who would be rescuing who in front of NL. I thought that was hilarious.
What about Usopp's voodoo attack or his magic spell? That was so funny.
Yeah, like it was just. I feel like their strategies just confused the shit out of the opponent.
Bro, Usopp they dodged a lot of NL's attacks, which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean,
Dude,
perfect.
Usopp is straight up one of the greatest anime characters of all time. I love him so much. And, like, at first, right, we'll talk about Sanji's epic moment later, I guess. Yeah. But when Luffy and Usopp are on the Thingo together and they're like flying away, and Nami's like, no, wait, we have to go back for Sanji. And Usopp just like reaches out like half dead and just like puts his hand on the accelerator to fly away. At first I thought he was just like being a coward, but nah, fam. He meant it with his whole heart when he says, how dare you trample another man's resolve.
Yeah, yeah.
That was epic,
man. It could work both ways. He could be like, no, he's resolved to sacrifice himself. Let's get out of here.
Nah, fam. But he's epic.
Usopp respects brave warriors with like untouchable resolve. Truly. As someone who like he aspires to be like that, and he's still a coward at the end of the day. He's willing to stand up at certain times when it means for his dreams and his friends and all that. But he's not always able to do that. So seeing Sanji do that, he respects that to the fullest. Yeah,
and that actually leads us into that Sanji moment to talk about it.
Yep.
And-
How did you feel when you first read that, bro?
Well, I thought it was awesome and yet funny too, because of the way it's translated in the Viz translation. So, what happened was first Sanji shows up, he gets like stalked by an L. He's like burned to a crisp, seemingly, and then he thanks an L for like giving him a light to smoke a cigarette.
Right, bro.
And he's like, "I have two things to tell you. First, thanks for the light." And an L's like, "Okay, what's the second?" And then in the Viz translation, he says, "Drop dead," right as he drops face first to the ground. And then later you learn that he actually messed with the ship.
Right, and in the anime, he says, "You're about to cry."
Yes.
And Nell's
But
like,
I thought-
"What?" And then he cries.
The drop dead thing was pretty funny because he ends up dropping like to the ground face first in the next moment. And somehow that seems so badass because he's like, "I'm about to drop face first, but I'm going to tell you to drop dead." I don't know. I liked it.
So do you think "Get Ready to Cry," the translation in the anime, is referring to him tampering with the ship, or him knowing and having trust in Luffy that he's gonna fucking make him cry?
Nah, fam,
I
it was
thought
the
it was
ship.
It was the ship.
It was the ship.
I think it's
But
both.
I feel like I the way you explained that moment didn't actually hit me. That you actually felt the epicness of Simpji, okay?
Dude,
So-
it's one of Sanji's. It's one of my favorite moments for Sanji.
Dude, same. He jumps in there. He took the lightning attack like a champ. He kicks Usopp with 100% accuracy
Oh,
onto
yeah, he
Nami's
kicked Usopp
motorbike
onto-
thing.
Yeah, that was good too. Yeah.
It's not like Anel came after him to zap him. He kicked Usopp out of the way and got hit instead. And
Yeah.
then, even after the thing, like the screen pans away or whatever, and then we see him still standing there after getting hit by like 14 billion volts or whatever.
Burnt
And then
to
he,
a
like,
crisp.
Burnt to a freaking crisp, covered in bandages already. And he like slowly puts his cigarette in his mouth and goes, "I have two things to tell you. First," and he takes the cigarette out, "thanks for the light, bro. Second, you're about to cry." And then he drops. Bruh, that scene
Yeah.
is so good.
There's something about that confidence in the face of like dropping lifeless to the ground that I just like.
Oh my god, Sanji's epic.
Well, that's why-
Jimmy, hit us epicness, bro.
Yeah, Jimmy's been quiet.
I mean, well, I love, the fights and stuff, but why I wanted to be on this particular episode is the resolution of Nolan's legacy and the ringing of the bell and what all of that means and how, and we'll get to this, but how this arc might have given me a bit of an existential crisis, and I really want to go into it. But Animac, what did you think of just the beautiful moment of Luffy defeating God and ringing that bell so that Mont Blanc Cricket would know that the city was in the sky?
Oh man, that honestly gave me goosebumps. The bell ringing, and because it leads up to it with the whole flashback where you get to see the truth about Nolan, who was not a liar. You get to see how he found the island on Jaya and the city of gold, and the whole rivalry between him and Kalgara and the natives of the island. And they had multiple like, oh, we're enemies, oh, we're friends, we're enemies again. So they had like real conflict and issues, but they ended up being good friends, and he promised to come back. And when he came back, the natives of Jaya promised, Shandorans, they promised to ring the bell so he can always find the island. But they couldn't because they ended up in the sky. So it was like this great friendship between the two warriors was left unresolved because of the tragic circumstances. And then Nolan is executed for being a liar, even though he wasn't. So then I loved how they brought that into the present. And then they kind of corrected that injustice with the descendants of Nolan and Kalgara. And then the bell was just a symbol of that, like, to Cricket, it was telling him, you didn't waste your life. You were right. Your ancestor was right. He was wronged by being called a liar. And it kind of brought the whole thing together. And also the bell symbolized that they're not going to be fighting anymore. Finally, peace is here after 400 years. Honestly, it really gave me goosebumps, the whole concept.
Yeah, goosebumps is one way to put it for sure. And why this impacted me so much is because one of my favorite themes in One Piece is the idea of history and what is history as we know it. And we'll get into it later in the show, of course, with things like, those who win wars get to write the history books, etc.,
Yes.
etc. So when we have a character like Mont Blanc Nolan, who is a noble hero of a man who his legacy is tarnished by a misunderstanding, and the next 5 generations of humanity think he's just a liar and a fool and a joke. But none of it was true. And it got me thinking about the real world and how many Mont Blanc Nolans exist on Earth. How many people in history who we think of as villains or heroes were actually the opposite, and they'll never get justice. There is no bell in the sky for us to ring to prove their innocence, you know, and it really blew my mind, and it really got me interested in world history by reading anime manga history.
Yeah, and especially with history like hundreds of years ago where records were poorly kept, it's so crazy to think like the reality. One example I can think of right away is like Napoleon. So Napoleon, we know him today mostly from British propaganda, and Britain was the enemy of Napoleonic France. So the idea that he was really short and like egotistically stumpy guy, it all
Can I
comes
interrupt
from...
you for 1 second? Because what pisses me off about Napoleon is they keep saying he's short. I looked it up and we're the same height. That really pissed me off.
Yeah, Napoleon was average height for his time, completely average. But because in English, like a cartoon caricatures, propaganda, he was portrayed as this little man trying to, you know, do these big things because he wasn't like a big noble. He was a minor nobility in Corsica, but like wasn't a king or anything like that, because they were portraying him as this like little man trying to meddle in the affairs of big men. So that propaganda is what we know Napoleon for, and the whole idea of the Napoleon complex completely comes from English propaganda. So that's just one small example of who knows how many things in history we don't actually remember the way we think we do. So it's like, and we have the Dark Ages where, you know, records were really poorly kept. We don't know exactly what happened.
I like to call them the void century ages.
Exactly. Because some people believe that Charlemagne wasn't even who people say he was. They might not even have existed because it's so long ago. You know, there's a lot of stuff. So that's a really good point that you brought up, especially like today we have fake news, but at least today we have the internet and stuff. We can verify things. But yeah,
and as a good example of that, so kind of off topic, but still on topic, Pewdiepie just signed a deal with YouTube Gaming that he's going to be gaming on YouTube. And every single website that talks about it is like, YouTube takes this extremely controversial figure to take that to partner with. Here are all the things he's done. He is Nazi, anti-Semite, and like, you know, all these other terrible things. And it's like, can you imagine if we didn't have an internet where we could speak? Can you imagine that that's how history would remember the guy? I mean, exactly.
They don't say, okay, PewDiePie made some bad jokes that didn't land. They're like, no, this guy is legit. You know, like a neo-Nazi, this, that. Like, it's so ridiculous. Like,
PewDiePie is getting Mont Blanc Noland.
It's propaganda. Yeah. Propaganda, like you say. They take things out of context, and if that's that's the only part that you know, you believe it to be true. But with the way it is today, you could do research and inform your own opinion.
Mm-hmm. And I like people in the chat saying that we need a "No one understands Napoleon" video.
Bro, I was looking at the chat. The chat was memeing so hard. Like, you're talking about Napoleon, and then the chat's like, Napoleon just wanted to live a quiet life. And someone said, and when you were talking about how the media changes how we understand people, someone in the chat's like, SMH, Alex Jones.
Yeah, okay. Alex Jones says some crazy shit.
Oh, God.
He has some crazy shit. But can we talk about the fact that until the last like 10 chapters of Skypiea, I did not realize that we had Jack and the Beanstalk retelling within this story. I totally slipped my mind until I realized, there's like this big beanstalk and the bell is on top. This is Jack.
Technically, Enel is 8'9", so he's a giant, I guess.
Yeah.
Not by One Piece standards, but
I have to say, in One Piece standards, that's relatively normal.
Yeah. Oh, and by the way, very important piece of information that needs to be said. Do you know what today is, Animac? Today is May 6th, the birthday of Enel. Boom!
Wow.
Take that.
Great timing.
It's also when we Serbian people celebrate St. George.
Well, happy St. George Day to you, Animac.
Basically the same people.
So,
yeah.
So part of the reason...
I misunderstood.
Part of the reason that Oda has these guys that, like, even though they're not giant, at insane heights, So Enel's like 8 foot something, like you said. Pretty much every villain or antagonist we come across is gonna be like stupidly tall or large, and the reason for that is they want it to when they draw the panels, Luffy to be much smaller in comparison, so it looks like it's like just the visual. It looks like there's an obstacle, a large obstacle he has to overcome. You get these awesome
Luffy
visuals
is
when they're
little
about
man.
to fight, where he's the little guy, he's the underdog basically against this mammoth, this god in this case.
Now, you said, Animac, that this reminds you of a fairy tale. Do you want to read into maybe a little bit of how the allegory of Skypiea starts off as it's Christian heaven with angels and God, and then it turns into a fairy tale? Do you have any thoughts about that? How Luffy's wearing a straw hat fedora and literally punches God to kill
I
him?
think you are reading too much into that, sir.
I don't think I am.
The kami concept is in like the Far East is far different than traditional God, but they do reference, some ideas of heaven here. But then there are also Far Eastern ideas of heaven and the heavens that can be related to this as well, and it's not as simple as the Western, omnipowerful God.
Yeah.
But I do like the whole concept of Skypiea, like the islands and the fact that it's this unknown world in the sky, this heaven, but in reality, there's a lot of stuff going on beneath the surface. And like I said, the Jack and the Beanstalk reference where he goes up to the clouds, that's something I totally didn't realize until like later on in the arc. All of it was really, really cool concept. And the way it plays in, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, I don't want to jump the shark, but the way it plays in with the world building with the Polnareffs, also known as the Poneglyphs, amazing.
Also known as the Poneglyphs. Nice.
Yeah.
Dude, so I mean, for me, the highlight of rereading this arc was absolutely when Robin's reading one of the Poneglyphs, one of the Polnareffs, and it's like, so it's talking about the god. Which one is this? This was Poseidon, right? It's like the god Poseidon. Is that the one that was in this?
Oh, yeah. So it was, yeah. So there was
The weapon, the crazy weapon.
Talking about another weapon.
Poseidon.
Yeah, Poseidon weapon that is similar to the idea of the Pluton weapon from Alabasta.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like, and she was disappointed because that's not the type of Polnareff she's looking for. It's like this whole thing, the powerful weapon Poseidon, signed Jean-Pierre. Everyone's happy. But like then
Wait, did we get to see
turning
who
away.
signed it other than obviously the
Oh,
person
yes,
that
we
we?
I'm
do.
kidding. No, Jean-Pierre
No.
is Polnareff's. That was the joke.
I was saying,
That
but
was-
there's 2 people who signed it, right? Not just one.
Wait,
There's
no.
a special engraving on the Poneglyph.
Wait,
I'm not talking about the
getting there.
engraving. I'm talking about the first one. Who signed it? Who wrote that? The first one.
It didn't say, did it?
I'm pretty sure it says. Okay, maybe not. Okay, continue.
Okay, so one is we believe is the Shandorans wrote the text about the weapon because they're the protectors of it.
Okay.
This is
And then there was a note by a young gentleman known as Goldie Roger.
right.
on
So
the
that's what
side.
I'm getting to. Because so then they
Yeah.
found more writing in that ancient text, and they're like, "Yo, Robin, did you see that?" And Robin looks at it, and it's like, "The path is becoming clear." Nah, fam, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna read it. Sorry.
Yeah, you gotta quote that directly.
Yeah, this one needs to be quoted.
And while you do that, can I
I
just say
have it
that-
already. There's no while I do that. I'm
Fine,
there.
fine, Nux. No one will interrupt you, Nux.
Good. No
Okay.
one can. Dude, you're gonna interrupt me on my podcast?
So while you search for that, Nux, just let me say. So Robin was searching for the
All right,
ancient
Briggs,
history.
you could interrupt me, no problem.
But of course, I will. So Robin was searching for the ancient history and was upset because she ended up finding out about the weapon. Go ahead, Nux.
There
Yes.
we go. So then it says in ancient writing that looks like it was chiseled out by quite a mad lad. We came here, found the text, and followed its guidance. Signed, Goldie Roger.
Yes, and it turns out that Goldie Roger was
Has D
there
in his name, bro.
in Skypiea. Yes, he has D in his name, just like Monkey D. Luffy. And we also find out that he was there in Skypiea 20 years earlier. So
And he
went
knew
to
the
Skypiea.
language.
Of the Poneglyphs, yes. So he knew the ancient language. He was in Skypiea 20 years earlier. No one even realized that he found the bell, but he did. And so the translation, I think, was a bit different in the Viz one, but the idea that I got from it, from what Robin said, is that she realized that Goldie Roger had compiled he had found all the poneglyphs and compiled like a document, an overall document that includes the information of all of them. Am I wrong here?
I think she's just assuming that
I'm not going to say anything, to be honest. But,
I think she made a comment. Robin made a comment saying that Gold Rogers discovered the truth, most likely.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
right.
that, and I think that just feeds into the idea that the One Piece should be closely related to the secret history that no one knows,
Well,
and that it's hidden with the poneglyphs.
yes, because
Dun,
maybe
dun, dun,
that is the journey. Anyway, so
maybe that's the One Piece.
just gonna say, basically, for everyone that's up to date, no, I'm not gonna spoil anything. But bruh, chapter 966, bruh.
Is that the
Anyway.
one when Sanji dies?
Yeah, it was so sad. Well, Sanji dies in the beginning. He dies in the beginning of the chapter. This is more towards the end. Like,
That's the least interesting part of the chapter is Sanji dying.
bro, Sanji dying, everyone was like flipping out, and then they got to the end of the chapter and totally forgot about that.
Anyway, for anyone who is listening to this and is an actual serious professional, he's memeing you, okay? Just so you know. If you don't know,
This is what Animag thinks until he gets to the Water 7 arc and sees Sanji die.
In the Water 7? Whoa!
Yeah, what happened to the current arc, bro? I thought.
Man, Dude, I couldn't believe when they killed Sanji in a filler arc. Like, what?
Yeah, G8.
Water 7's a filler arc?
The truth is, he dies multiple times. He dies once, and he eats a fruit where he's able to come back to life.
As
It's
a
crazy.
skeleton.
It's pretty
Yo!
insane.
the reincarnation.
And then I was talking to Jimmy about this in the bathtub, and he was telling me about this whole this whole allegory to how, in fact, Sanji dying and coming back as a simp is relating to different religious
I'm pretty sure
symbolism.
the bathtub stuff was before the stream or before the podcast, so most people don't know that what you're
No,
talking
people
about
don't
when you say
realize
you
that
were
we
in the
get-
tub.
Dude, our FaceTime bathtub conversations are legend. Wait for it. Dairy.
Scary.
But anyway, we should probably legend scary. All right. But anyway,
If
Okay,
you're lactose
guys.
intolerant, you won't like this word.
One season later.
scary.
Sanji Dying.
Okay, guys.
All right. Anyway,
so-
so yeah, what did you think of the final battle, Luffy versus NL? Because if you remember, when we started this in the One Piece Virgin 2 episodes ago, you said, "Bro, how the hell is anyone gonna beat NL? Like, even if Luffy isn't affected by lightning or whatever, how the hell is he gonna beat this god?" Are you satisfied by the final battle?
I am satisfied that NL didn't die. That he just got beaten up and then he left. Because if he would have killed him, I would have been more pissed. I'm not 100% satisfied on how Luffy defeated him, but overall, I'm not disappointed either. I liked again to suck up to my girl Nami. Nami was willing to risk her life to go up and help Luffy, which again is not something that she would have done at the beginning because she was very self-interested at the beginning. She was looking out for herself, for survival, but she's clearly developing and learning to be a member of the crew and really even willing to risk her life for the crew, willing to risk getting her precious treasure or giving up her treasure for the crew. So I think that is important character development for Nami. And I think anyone who says that at this point in the story that Nami is not best girl is completely insane.
Nami's the only girl, bro. It's not like she doesn't have that much competition. We barely met Robin.
Exactly. So Robin is definitely interesting so far and mysterious, but you cannot compare them at this point in the story. Nami is just queen.
All right.
But-
Three
Anima.
little
Let's
words.
be
I just-
completely honest, though. Nami is more likely to open an OnlyFans than any other female character in all of One Piece.
I mean,
Guys, in terms of
Because-
waifus,
but
three little words. I just discovered this waifu a couple days ago. Moon, lion, carrot. Am I wrong, folks? Hello.
Oh no, you're not one of
Not
those.
you too.
I'm not
you
those,
too.
but I like the character design. I thought she was.
No, she's cute as fuck
bro.
and badass as fuck in that.
Oh, yeah,
Can't
she-
spoil. But
I only
Okay,
like her in the
then-
demon mode.
she's okay, but then you see Miruko from MHA, and then you're like, no, that's the bunny girl that I'm fucking talking about.
How did you know that it's a bunny?
Fuck, I've heard of her, yeah.
Oh,
People-
okay.
okay.
I don't know the context, but I've seen her.
Okay, back to what we were talking about real quick. I just want to say when Nami was going to say, she was going up to save Luffy to bring him back, and they were going to try to evacuate because Enel was going to destroy all of Skypiea. But the part I loved is Zolo knew all along. He's like it's pointless. Zuffy, oh my god, Luffy already has it in his mind that he's gonna ring this bell, and he's willing to risk his life. Not just to try to defeat Enel, but to ring the bell so that someone he met an arc prior could like be fulfilled and like know the truth. It's amazing.
Zoro is the man that stands his captain most. I respect him so much for this, and the fact that he sliced down the entire beanstalk, which again I like to think is an allegory to how no matter how many fairy tales are taking place, Zoro will slice them down.
I mean, he wasn't able to. He wasn't able to do it. It still stood tall, and Wiper came clutch. Wiper's a badass, man.
Yeah, Wiper came pretty clutch.
So the thing with the whole beanstalk, so we had on top of the beanstalk we had Luffy and Nami fighting Enel, and then on the bottom we had the other Straw Hats trying to cut down the bean, and it was so funny because when I read them say. They sent that message from up top to the other Straw Hat saying, cut down the beanstalk and make sure it falls west. And then I saw Zoro going to cut it. I'm like, no, he doesn't know directions, you fool. You can't tell Zoro, make it fall west like that. Oh.
I think they drew a compass on the leaf.
Yeah, so he didn't end up cutting it. And then Usopp did, the hardest work. And then, like, Wiper came in and used the critical, what's it called?
Reject dial.
Critical reject dial. And, like, but obviously Usopp weakened it enough for him to be able to do it.
Sam just donated 100 bits, and I completely agree. The silhouette of Luffy jumping was amazing.
Bruh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Was that real or was that, like, just kind of symbolic?
No, it was real.
It
like,
could be
remember
real.
when they were going up to Sky Island? They saw all these large creatures. You thought they might be giants. It's a shadow, basically. A shadow with the wings.
I was so confused about that when we first saw it, because, like, no one can be this tall. This is insane. And then I totally forgot about this until at the end of the arc they revealed what actually was happening. And they did show that Luffy shadow, but I didn't know during that narrative whether that was kind of more symbolic or whether it was literal that they were showing. But I guess it doesn't matter. It was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ready for
It's like
You
the
guys ready for a
infinite
hot
mysteries
piece
of One Piece. Just like as ridiculous and impossible as the dream is, and as the mysteries seem, there is an explanation out there to find it. And I do love One Piece a lot. One Piece is so good, bro. I'm so happy we're doing the One Piece Virgin podcast.
Yes. And Enel, so I thought this was really cool. So Enel kept on with this, like, endless Vars, right? And everyone assumed he wanted to destroy Skypiea and then go down to Earth. But it turns out this dude is talking about the moon.
Dum dum dum.
Okay, before we get into that, Jim, you had something to say. What's up?
Oh, I wanted to hit you with another hot piece of One Piece trivia. Do any of you know how 9/11 affected this arc?
No.
This arc was being completed when 9/11
Originally,
happened.
it was going to be a plane that hits the beanstalk.
No. I don't remember the character name, but at the end of the arc, when the old man who they became friends with, when he comes back, yeah, no, not Gonthal, the one who got hit by lightning, the dad of the chick.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, when he shows up, I was like, okay, like he totally got killed by Enel's lightning. Why is he back? And according to Oda in an interview, 9/11 shook the world, and everybody was so sad that he didn't want to have any sadness at the end of the arc, so we just brought the character back. And I don't know if that's 100% confirmed, but I read that, and I thought, wow, 9/11 brought a
Saved
character
this
back
man's
alive.
life.
Yep.
That's crazy.
I know it turns out Enel's lightning wasn't super deadly, guys. I feel like that's to think about. But no, yeah, so the moon thing completely surprised me because I know Nux has been simping the moon in One Piece for a long time, but I didn't really get what the point was. So the whole time when he was talking about endless Vars, he was talking about the moon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like the moon, it's just the moon.
Nothing.
There's nothing there, seemingly.
Well,
There's nothing there, Animac. Bold statement. And there's also no islands floating in the sky. Get owned. Close
Yeah,
my
I know. That's the mystery because to me, when you think of the moon, I'm like, oh, it's just like a white surface. There's nothing there. But he's like, endless Vars is there. It's like, how, where, why? What's going on? Like,
And that, my friend, is why you read the One Piece cover chapters.
Well, okay, but that's also like because we have science and we know about the moon. Imagine being in the One Piece world and all you see is this huge thing in the sky, and growing up the way Enel did, you're in a sky island with no Vars in this case, and then that one island appears where they have some Earth, and it's like sacred land. It's something that he's treasured probably his whole life, and eventually wanted to go there. So that they had a small amount. Imagine an entire world or an entire planet that's made up of this Vars. Obviously, it's appealing to him, and he knows nothing about it really. So he's setting off on this adventure basically.
He's
also on an adventure, bruh.
I think for like the middle of the previous century, people had no idea, what other planets were, whether there was life on them or not. There could be, there might not be. And also back in like the Victorian era, I know that people thought that you could breathe in space. They thought it was all ether, which is the substance where you could just like keep flying into space and breathing there. So maybe in the world of One Piece, that's the same idea. You can actually just keep going into space and breathing there like you were on Earth.
Well, I just have to say, I saw two pretty epic things in the chat. Just 1 second. So Boonbeck donated 420 bits. Said it's just a moon, bro, and which I think is hilarious. And Raf's Revenge says 9/11 nerfed NL, which I thought was very funny.
That is one thing.
Somebody in the chat.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I was going to say somebody in the chat said that it was actually about Pell being saved in Alabasta. So maybe I got my cop-out survival things mixed up with 9/11. But carry on.
I was just going to say one thing like.
So
Animax lagging hard. So I was just going to say that the lightning obviously like wasn't super effective and didn't kill people, but also the reject dial with Wiper. They talked about this reject dial, like the impact dial already damages your body, but the reject dial is supposed to be this dial that like pretty much kills you. And he just keeps on using it over and over again. He used it 3 or 4 times, I think.
I think 3 times.
It's like, don't hype something up to kill someone. Like, that's the entire thing. You bring it up, and if someone does it, it's supposed to be this insane thing where it kills you. Survive it once, whatever, and then have the balls to use it again. Wiper should be dead.
But his ancestors, bro.
9/11 saved Wiper confirmed.
Speaking of ancestors, we should really talk about the backstory more. It was a great backstory.
Yo, I loved it. Yeah, I loved that Nolan ended up being a badass botanist. Like, whoever a botanist being a fucking badass like that.
It breaks my heart that history has remembered him the wrong way, and I wish there was some sort of tribe of tiny creatures who worshipped him to make up for, poor Nolan. It's not fair.
No, I think that honestly, it is really telling that, that is how history works, and that history is written by the victors, because this guy's ancestors for generations have lived with the shame of their ancestor Nolan being this liar who became a fairy tale for like little kids and a cautionary tale for little kids not to lie. Like, imagine that. It's like
the concept of sins of the father is bad enough, but what if you find out your father never sinned in the first place and you're just being punished for generations?
Yeah, like it would be the equivalent of like, let's say Benedict Arnold's ancestors learning that Benedict Arnold didn't actually like betray the US. It was all a lie.
Yeah.
Right.
That would be that. I mean, it ruins generations of people's lives because of something that may or may not have actually happened in the past.
Yeah.
Turns out Bernie Madoff, it wasn't a scam.
It was Bernie made on. He didn't make off with any money.
Yeah.
Absolutely not.
Too soon.
That's why I like Luffy.
I think he had kids that commit suicide out of shame.
Yeah, one of his kids
Like,
did, with the shame, yeah.
Like, imagine there are people that are, like, for example, Nolan, right? I mean, he could have had kids that commit suicide because of this lie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just shame. It could be so much worse. And
I was going to say that's why it's so great that Luffy's dedication to prove cricket, to prove to him what actually happened. Because as we've discussed before, Luffy's character is he doesn't care about your past or who you used to be. He cares about being friends with you right now. So I think it's great where we have the juxtaposition of the guy whose life has been ruined because of the legacy of his ancestors. And then all of that gets fixed by the one guy who will never care about your backstory, who will sleep through your backstory every single arc.
Yeah, and the thing
Briggs
though,
says that's why they call a monkey D Zoofy.
and the thing though, I feel like that's why probably just the secret history of the world will not end up being the One Piece, because if that was the One Piece, Luffy would be like, "Who cares, man? Who cares what happened in the past?"
Good point.
Okay.
But he'll probably be happy if Robin gets to experience his
Dude,
dream.
on Noble's talk show thing, when like he said, "What do you think the One Piece is?" and you said waifus, I was like, "This man don't know nothing, no way!" And then it was on there.
No, I knew it was a meme answer, but that's why I did it. Yeah. So the one thing I do want to talk about is this secret history, because so what we know so far is we had these powerful places like the ancient Shandora, of which we only see the ruins. They had these crazy powerful weapons like the Pluton and the Poseidon. So clearly some kind of crazy war happened. A war that potentially changed the face of the world using these ancient incredible weapons, kind of like Atlantis style conspiracy theories. And then someone, the victor, did a very, very good job trying to erase everything.
Wiped out 100 years of history.
Yeah, so it's like, what happened that was so important, clearly war involved, that someone wanted to hide and erase? And why? Why, bro?
Dude, I love that you're into that, because that's also one of my favorite parts of One Piece.
Same here. That's why I'm still chugging through it, and I'm so disappointed that I've caught up 700, 800 chapters, and it still hasn't been revealed. It really broke my heart, but now I'm excited to be
but you're
on the same train as everybody else.
Dude, Jimmy, you must be so in the dark. You didn't even see my theory video.
Once I catch up, I want you guys to send me all the One Piece videos I need to watch, because I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah. Oh, so in terms of the moon, because Nux made a video about the moon, I really do hope that something is going on there. Like, I hope it's not going to be just like NL goes to the moon and is like, bro.
Have faith in Oda, man. Have faith in Oda.
Yeah, so that would be cool. And in terms of the side stories, we do have to talk about the Ace side cover stories. Basically, Ace is just going around looking for Blackbeard. He infiltrates a marine base, drinks some shitty coffee, saves people from a fire, does a lot of crazy shit, and he doesn't find Blackbeard. I think that was kind of the gist of it.
Yeah.
But he's a mad
I
lad.
also love that Ace is like sitting there like on somebody's shoulders, and they're all shooting cannonballs at him, and they're all flying through him because he's a fire Logia.
Yes. Yeah, so his body can become fire, which is really insane.
You know what I just realized? Technically, you don't need to be rubber or to defeat an L. If you have gold, you could probably also do it. I think that's a natural weakness as well.
Yeah, so part of it was the golden ball.
Yeah, because the golden balls would actually make the impact on an L afterwards. And gold conducts electricity? Science me up, Animac.
Didn't he use his hand to punch an L while at the same time using the ball to ring the bell? Wasn't that what happened?
I don't know.
I thought it was
fucking epic.
It was great.
Thank you, Jimmy, coming in with facts.
That's right.
Gold is a superconductor and rubber is an insulator. Thank you for the bro science, bro.
Hell yeah.
Also, I had someone on Twitter message me saying that Anel's appearance was inspired by the real Slim Shady.
It's true.
Eminem.
Could be.
Like early,
No,
Eminem
actually,
does
it
have
is.
really
It is.
long
I've seen
earlobes.
that.
Yeah, it actually is
Like-
apparently.
early Eminem before he did the weird.
Oda predicted the rap god before it even happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because he has the song called Rap God. Yeah, man.
Yo, his mantra,
Shit.
2 OP. Anything else we need to talk about?
Yeah, another thing, bro. When all the Skypeans want to show their gratitude to the Straw Hats by giving them like this massive pillar of gold, and
They still,
hey
they
guys,
still, yeah, baby, let's rob them.
yeah, they're like, oh shit, they're gonna make us put away this gold. Like they took like a backpack full of gold or something, like a sack, and they're like, oh shit, let's run away. And they're like, no, wait, we want to give you more gold. He's like, no, they're gonna try to catch us. Run away, guys, run away. We want to keep this gold. It's like, no, you idiots. But it makes sense knowing them. But no.
And even that scene of them running away at the end, like every single character has an expression that like fits them. With Luffy's like laughing about on to the next adventure, and Chopper's like crying and like crapping his pants, just losing his mind that they're being chased by these crazy Shanbalin guys.
Yeah. Like I was at least hoping Nami would be like, yo, let's hear out what they're actually saying, but I mean, it's funnier this way.
Yeah. And also, I know that this is a little thing, but I love these little things. The fact that they use this giant octopus like as an air balloon.
Yeah, that was cool because it's like they just start falling and they're like, yo, what's going on? We're falling from like 10,000 meters. Are we gonna die? And then they're like, oh no, we have this octopus balloon that's gonna help you down. It's like,
yeah, so I actually love that. Like how it's like inbred into, it's like it evolved into the One Piece landscape. Like these crazy ways. Like, I mean, we recently saw something similar by Wano, how to enter Wano. And that's not a spoiler, shut up. But
what? Wano's a place that exists? Spoiler. It's ruined. The story's ruined.
Yeah, big
yeah,
stuff.
they have islands, bro. They have other
Islands.
islands that we haven't heard of yet. Crazy.
Did we see Usopp showing off rubber bands to the
Yes,
local
the rubber
people,
band
saying
scam.
this is the weapon that defeated Eneru? He traded it for a bunch of impact dials.
Yeah, and then they're like, because he wanted to like trade something more valuable for the impact dials. What was it?
I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure.
He was gonna trade something more valuable, and they're like, "Oh, those rubber bands. I'd love to have one." He's like, "Yeah, okay, sure." Period.
I wanted to say
I love Usopp so much.
them running away that we talked about earlier is just so in line with like who the Straw Hats are. Like even Nami leaving, like they never want to leave on good terms. A lot of the times they do good things for, like, for example, Alabasta or for Arlong Park, but that's because they're like they actually have decent morals, but they're pirates at the end of the day. They don't want to be known for saving people, so they always try to leave on like bad terms, but like not really. So let's steal this gold and run away. Or like Nami, rather than saying goodbye and having them like say thank you and stuff, she steals all their wallets, type of thing. It's very
the word
Straw Hat
hero
form.
seems to be like a curse word to these people.
Yeah.
They absolutely don't want to be thought of as heroes.
A hero's the type of guy who steals meat, who shares his meat. Luffy wants all the meat.
Yeah,
Well, I think you'll find that the most real heroes in life are the ones who don't consider themselves heroes anyway. So,
And don't want the gratification or the rewards for doing
Right.
good things. They just do it because
I mean, I
Luffy
don't-
does what he
I
thinks
don't-
is right.
Dude, I don't want to be remembered as a hero, but like, I mean,
oh, don't worry.
Oh, thanks, man.
And it's almost like the Nolan thing, right? A lot of people who are actual heroes don't end up being remembered as heroes. So should you even care if you're remembered as a hero, or should you just do your own thing? And I think the Straw Hats just do their own thing.
Yeah, Luffy's the type of guy who he does what he wants to do, and he does what he thinks is right, whether or not you agree. It's like he doesn't care.
Oh, there is one thing that I wanted to talk about because I think someone misinformed me, and I want to say it's Briggs.
Ooh.
Because Briggs, you said that in a question corner,
Okay.
there was a moment where Oda was explaining the bath house scene, why all these other guys, other than Sanji and some of the other men, went to spy on Vivi and Nami.
Yeah.
Said that they went because they're healthy males, except for Chopper, who only went out of curiosity. So Luffy did not go out of curiosity; he went because he's a healthy male.
Oh, I remember Oda saying. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought it was they were all interested, and Luffy just went along with it because they seemed like the normal thing to do. Because there was a scene where Luffy was gawking as well, but we all know that Luffy's like asexual. He really doesn't have much interest.
We don't know that yet, Briggs. That's a spoiler, okay?
Not according to this, because it's right here.
There we
And
go. Luffy is canonically a healthy male.
Well, it's never been confirmed that
was
he's
Chopper.
asexual. We're just saying that he was. I'm pretty sure Oda said that he was acting in that scene, just to kind of fit in. It seemed like the thing to do,
Anyway.
you know.
Here,
I
I'll
think
read it.
just feel, I feel like Oda.
I'll read it for you, Briggs. I'll read it for you. It says, they all went to Peep because they're all healthy and male. I don't think there needs to be another reason. But Chopper probably only went because everybody else was going. Anyway, if a cute girl is showing some skin, I think it's pretty rude to the girl not to even consider going to Peep. Yeah, Sanji says it's pretty rude.
Hashtag Oda canceled.
Okay, maybe I remember them saying that about Chopper, which makes sense. But I feel like I've heard people say that about Luffy, like he was just doing it to fit in.
Well,
Maybe that's a
I feel like
theory.
retroactively it was a mistake on Oda's part because that doesn't really fit Luffy's character
Mm-hmm.
as we see him later on.
Maybe,
But who
or
cares?
I just
Doesn't really
schooled
matter.
Briggs on One Piece knowledge.
Well, definitely that's.
Well, I mean,
true.
I'm not teching.
Bro, I'm so excited for Rant Cafe when Animac's beard connects to his mustache.
Bro, shave the chin, just leave the mustache, and then start curling it.
Ooh!
Become the
I
Lord
mean,
Twigo that
I don't
you've
think you guys
always.
can handle that. I don't think you guys can handle that.
All right, too much manliness. Anyway.
No, Briggs, I remember that
all
too
in
from a
all-
translation. See, maybe he talked about it later on.
Yeah,
Dude,
we'll
now
see.
that-
Maybe there's an additional clarification later on, but I'm just saying from the one that we got so far.
Dude, now that I'm excited that we finished the Skypiea arc, which is a fantastic arc, and we finished the Skypiea saga, which is a fantastic saga. Animac, what did you like better, the Skypiea arc or the Alabasta arc? And what did you like better between the three sagas we had so far? East Blue Saga, Alabasta Saga, and Skypiea Saga.
So to me, throughout, more consistently, I liked Alabasta because I thought it had more of a consistent narrative and more politics and other stuff that I liked, and world building throughout. But I thought Skypiea ended really strong, and all the stuff that I was lacking through the course of the early parts of the arc ended up actually being delivered unexpectedly at the end, with the whole poneglyphs, with the whole backstory and Noland and everything coming together. So I don't know, man. I can't really decide. I would
Bro,
say-
don't be a bitch and decide. We
I
have
can't,
faith.
man.
Dude,
I want-
just decide.
Look at the conclusion of the two arcs. You had that moment, the arms moment in Alabama,
Arms moment.
amazing, and here you had the bell moment, bro.
Well, Animac, let me put it this way: of those three sagas, which one are you most excited to watch on the anime or read again?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I would probably say that I do like Alabasta and Skypiea more than the pre Grand Line
Grand
stuff.
Line?
But I don't want to decide, man.
Yeah, I
Alright,
think
alright.
for me, I prefer Alabasta as a saga and the East Blue as a saga more than Skypiea. But Skypiea as an arc more than arcs within Alabasta and within East Blue. Like, Alabasta has the fucking that island with the giants. East
Yeah,
Blue
Little
has
Garden.
Syrup Village. So Skypiea is a better arc than a lot of the arcs, but as an overall story and like saga, I do think it's probably the weakest so far.
I don't know, man. Jaya together with Skypiea.
Oh, it's
is,
good. I always say
So
this.
I
Whenever
think-
I say something is worse or is not that great in One Piece, it's in relation to other One Piece. Because everything in One Piece is good.
So, like, I would have to say that I like, as far as sagas, I think I like Alabasta Saga the most. Then I like Skypiea, and then I like East Blue least. Just because East Blue was it felt disconnected, you know? It wasn't like one story, one narrative that got wrapped up. It was many little stories, and that's what they had to do to introduce the characters. As far as
It was the
individual
story of Luffy building his crew.
Bro! But it was many little stories.
That's how you build a crew.
That's how you build a
Syrup
crew.
Village wasn't a
Syrup-
great arc. It was
Syrup
good that we
Village-
got Usopp, but I mean, it wasn't overall. The villains weren't good.
But, like, for example, though, I like Arlong Park probably more than Skypiea. Maybe more than Skypiea.
Oh, yeah, I do definitely.
I think I like Arlong
So-
Park more than Alabasta.
Yeah,
I don't.
and
I like
Barati, back-to-back Barati and Arlong Park, I think is better than Alabasta.
Dude,
by the way,
Baratier, Arlong Park, then Logtown? You're telling me East Blue's not amazing?
Dude, East Blue is amazing. It's just as far as the saga goes, I don't like it as much as Alabasta.
Arlong
Oh, no, say
Park
it.
had
Alabasta had one of the greatest anime villains in the history of mankind.
But you
being
like
Bella.
you like Skypiea more than East Blue as a
What am I
saga?
talking about? Skypiea had Bella. Sorry?
You like Skypiea as a saga more than East Blue. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Hmm.
But just
I don't know,
because I
fair
feel
enough.
like I like Arlong Park more than Skypiea, but I like Skypiea more than all the other arcs.
Arlong Park had that Nami Straw Hat moment, which was also amazing. But there were other arcs that weren't as good as Arlong Park and Barati. But yeah, I don't know. But probably Alabasta overall would take a slight edge, just because I think it's more consistent throughout than Skypiea. But Skypiea had such a great conclusion, though.
It did.
Well, really, this whole discussion is pointless because Long Ring Island arc coming up is the best one so far. So,
Fuck.
Dude,
we're all gonna.
I'm so happy you mentioned that because we're all like debating. I don't know, maybe. And being that people expect me to overhype things, I can't possibly overhype enough when I say that the Water 7 Ennis Lobby saga is gonna completely blow everything you've seen out of the water. Okay.
I
We'll
think it's
see
the
that.
greatest saga in One Piece.
That's high praise.
I
And
love it.
I'm very happy to see the development of all the characters, their chemistry together. Like I think Zoro and Luffy have great chemistry. Sanji and Usopp have great chemistry. Nami, I think, is developing in an amazing way. Robin is still not developed, but she's mysterious. Chopper, I love Chopper too. He's just such a wholesome guy.
Yeah, I like Chopper. But very important, someone donated 100 bits. Gamer HGH said, using the I'm not teching excuse as a way out is such a weak mindset.
I don't think
Right.
any of us are teching, so I don't think it's a weak mindset. You can never get to that level of encyclopedia.
Yeah, well, it's not an excuse though, bro. It's just a way of life. But anyway, so yeah, that's the end of the Skypiea adventure.
So
The next arc that we're doing is an anime filler arc, the G8 arc. It is 11 episodes from 196 through 206. And then is the Long Ring Long Land arc, which even though it kind of sucks, the end is pretty epic. Like the last 3 chapters are amazing.
Okay.
I think it also doesn't help that an manga canon arc is worse than an anime filler arc that was right before it. So it's
Yeah.
the juxtaposition just makes it even worse.
So
Yeah,
I'm
which
looking
is kinda
forward
sad.
to reading the Long Ring Long Land arc because I only watched the anime, and the anime adds a lot of filler to it, and like it's already
I
fucking
never-
slow.
The funniest thing is I never actually read or watched the entire Long Ring Long Land arc.
Can't blame you.
So I'm hoping that the manga is better than the anime variation, and maybe I'll like it a little bit more. Cause that's whenever I talk about One Piece, I say that they're all the arcs are amazing, but honestly, that's the one arc where it's like I can't even make arguments for it. It's just not good.
Weird if I end up being like, this is my favorite arc, bro.
Well, that's why we're having Rustage on, because Rustage actually likes it. Mad lad.
Yeah, Rustage likes it. But one thing I am
Yeah, I
excited
won't
for,
like it.
Foxy, bro, the bicycle scene, dude.
If Russ likes it, I'm not gonna like it.
Oh,
The bicycle scene is technically in the Long Ring Long Land arc. That's a good place to wrap it up, boys. Thanks so much for doing this. Thank you, Animac, for reading One Piece. Thank you for standing Nami because someone had to. Thanks, Jimmy, for being here. You absolute mad lad, wholesome mastermind. We love you, and you're invited back. And Nux and Braggs! Stay
Nuts
weird.
and Briggs.
And
Man,
Jimmy.
Sky Island was like a son to me.
Until next time, see ya, Space Cowboys.
Bang!